Before we come on to players who may or may not be involved, just a word on the Socceroos this morning. Anthony Caceres, Hayden Matthews in particular, getting a first start. How did that make you feel as his coach?
Yeah, very delighted, proud of the boys, proud of the opportunity that they've been provided. I thought they both did well, considering it was their first start for the Socceroos. So hopefully many more to come for Cass and Hayden and even Rhino.
In Hayden in particular, I spoke to someone the other day that said the way he plays, it almost looks like he's played 100 A-League games. He looks so confident and composed when he's on the pitch. Did you see that in the way that, or know that when he was called up for the Socceroos, if he was given his chance, that was the sort of performance that he would be putting in, given the way he's played for you since you've had him? Yeah,
look, our jobs as coaches are to create the environment where people can get better at what they do and grow in that environment. So obviously players have certain attributes that they bring to the team and to themselves, and we provide the environment for them to actually flourish in that. So he's a confident boy in what he does. I think he has strong beliefs in his attributes that he has. And he'll definitely take that to another level, especially with the Socceroos. International football is another level as well, and for me, I believe the international football, the Socceroos, is the pinnacle of our game. So to be in that environment, I think is a great environment for a young player to be in.
He's obviously not going to be available this weekend, suspended, looking ahead to the derby. Have you already kind of worked out in your mind what you think is going to be the solution, and is it relatively obvious?
Nothing's ever relatively obvious. That's why we have the training week. We get to work on certain things, have a look at certain players, see where they're at. We've got Gertie that's been out for a long time, which is great. He got some match minutes in a friendly game against Macarthur that we played on the weekend. But we'll make that decision, I think, closer to the game on who will start instead of Hayden.
In terms of the last time we saw you in action, obviously against Macarthur, Douglas was on the bench for that one, didn't come on. Joe missed out. What's the latest on their relative fitness?
Joe's good, so he'll be available for selection. Douglas is where it's one of those ones where we need to make a decision where do we push him to get him available for the game, but also we've got a very important ACL game midweek, and then we have the bye, and then we have another ACL game, and then 2 days later we play Central Coast, and then we don't have an ACL game till next year. So it's one of those ones where we weigh up if we utilise him and too early, and does he break again, and then he's out for a long period of time, because we're going to be playing one game a week, which will allow us to actually utilise him a lot better in that window. So it's a decision that we'll sit down with the medical staff to make, and also Douglas as well, because he's just itching to play. He wants to get back out there, and we want him to play as well. I think he's a very important player to us, but we'll make that decision closer to the game as well.
Just on Douglas, when you look at the way the league is panning out, but also the way that the ACL2 is panning out, the result against Sanfrecce means, in reality, second place is probably going to be where Sydney finish if the results go your way. Does that then lend more of an importance for you for the league in that interim period when you're looking at maybe selecting Douglas, if you think about what game might be more valuable to you? Yeah,
obviously we want to succeed in both competitions. We need to firstly win this game against Wanderers on Saturday, and we need to win the game in Hong Kong against Eastern, which will give us a bit of a buffer leading into probably the last game against KR at home. So, and then 2 days later Central Coast. So we need to make decisions where we believe we want to make the right decision to win the game on Saturday, make the right decision to win the game against Eastern, and then it'll give us a bit of a buffer on the decisions that we make through KR and then Central Coast.
In terms of Joe, not having him in the squad for the Macarthur game, was that a late decision from your behalf, or was it more so with the idea that if you want him to play, he's going to be able to play more minutes against the Wanderers than what he would have managed against Macarthur?
Well, on the -1 before the Macarthur game, he needed to tick a few boxes, and he still felt a bit of pain on crossing balls. So we thought we didn't want to risk him and make sure we give him an extra week to prepare for this game. And the great thing is that obviously we didn't end up using him. He wasn't in the matchday squad, and we gave him a few more days, and now he'll be available.
In terms of the actual derby itself, I think the one that occurred in matchday 1 was a fantastic result for Sydney FC, especially at their stadium. When you look at them 4 or 5 games in now, Are you anticipating a bit of a different contest, albeit you're going to be at home? You'll probably still try and play the same way, but from an opposition perspective, are you thinking that they're going to be a bit further down the track in terms of the way compared to the way they were in round one?
Of course, round one, it's always a difficult game to play, especially the derby. But I think after the 4 rounds that we've played, I think teams slowly start to find their feet. I think players start to find their feet, and also the team managers or coaches start to work out what's working well and what's not working well at the same time. So it'll be a different game to the first game. It's still going to be chaotic. It is the derby. It always is. It's going to be another challenge for us, another obstacle that we need to jump over.
Just a couple of quick ones. Leo Sena, any update on how he's feeling? I know he's struggling in that MacArthur game. Is he full fitness now?
Well, we looked after him the first week of the international window, which just gave us that time for mainly certain players that have played a lot of minutes leading into that window. But he's been good. He'll be available for selection as well, so he's training fully at the moment.
And in terms of the 2 Socceroos boys that are going to be, in theory, available to be picked, Cass and Ryan, when are they arriving back, and is that going to be a tight deadline for you to get them and assess them?
Yeah, they arrive Thursday morning, and they'll be straight to training on Thursday morning with us. So we'll obviously modify them. They'll be coming off a flight all the way from Bahrain, but they'll be involved in the last 2 sessions before we play.